So often enough, I have readers express to me that they would like to be more of a support to me or other authors in the community, whether that's buying our merch, buying our books, sliding something in our Cash App account, or just different stuff like that. And while I'm always so grateful for that type of offer, I always decline it because I feel like readers, you guys already do enough. But if you are looking for something specifically, you feel like you want to do a little more, you want to put on for the community a little more, I made this video especially for you. Please do not feel like I am saying that you have to do any of those things or you need to do any of the things that I'm about to mention, because it's not that at all. You're under no obligation to do any of these things. But if you're also one of those people who have a heart for wanting to support Black indie authors more, you feel like there's more that you want to do and you don't know how, this video is just for you. Hi guys, Christina C. Jones here, back today with another video. Today I am going to be talking to my readers out there, not necessarily just my readers, but any readers who want to know what it is that they can do to support their favorite self-published authors. So I did crowdsource this, but I'm also going to say a few things that were not crowdsourced that that are just my own thoughts. And so I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but I absolutely do not purport in this video to speak for anybody else. There may be authors who disagree with some of the things that I'm going to say here, and that's totally fine. But these are just the ways that I kind of gathered from my peers, plus some stuff, that I'm going to add that I think are really good ways to help show the self-published authors that that y'all got our backs. So let's dive right in. Okay, first and most obvious is buy our books. Even if we are in the KU program, which we go into with eyes wide open, so don't feel bad about using the KU program. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We have to opt into that. Anybody who is in the KU program opted into it. So absolutely do not feel bad. That is what is in your budget. That's what's within your budget. And do not feel bad about that. We get a royalty from that too, which is the important part here. that we're able to, that each of those page reads or whatever is contributing to us making those royalties that contribute to us being able to work towards making a living from our books, because not all of us are there yet. Some of us still have full-time jobs and are just kind of getting it in where we fit in. For some of us, this is full-time. This is our only income. And so either way, we need that monetary support of buying the books or getting the books through KU, whichever one of those methods. Another way that you can support us is not just by, buying or using KU. If neither of those things are in your budget, I know you have a public library somewhere near you, somewhere close enough to you that you can get a card. Most libraries, especially in these days, have where you can apply for that library card online. Request our books. Lots of us, not all of us, and not even all of our work, because not even all of my work is available, is available for libraries, but some of it is. Request it. Request our work. Request our audiobooks. Request our ebooks. Request our paperbacks, because a lot of libraries are trying to build their collections and they absolutely will pick it up. So do what you can. Your library probably has Overdrive or Libby or Hoopla or Scribd or Biblioteca. They probably have one of those services. Check and see if your favorite indie authors are available on there. Even if you do have the budget, just do that. Even if you have purchased them and you have them on KU, request them in your library too, so that they're made available for other readers who might be looking for whatever it is that we offer. And it is not enough to just buy or check out or borrow whatever the book. Actually read the book, because we're not just spending these hours and all of that, putting all these thoughts and emotions and action and sex on the page just for the fun of it. No, read it. We want to know. We want to know what you think. We want you to tell everybody else what you think. We want you to dive into these worlds that we've taken time to create. So don't just let it sit in your TBR. Crack that thing open. Once you've read the book, review the book. You absolutely do not have to be a professional reviewer. You don't have to be an English major. Some of my favorite reviews are sis, listen. You put you put your mama feet in this book or whatever. Those are some of my favorite reviews. It does not have to be a dissertation. It does not have to be an essay. Just your honest thoughts about the book. And honestly, good or bad. I'm not saying it's got to be a positive review. You can tell, you can say whatever you want to say, but just leave the review because those reviews absolutely they matter. But with that said about the reviews being negative or positive, please don't let the only reviews that you decide to leave on Amazon or Goodreads or wherever you review books, don't only review the books that you didn't like. It's fine to review a book that you didn't like. It's totally fine to leave a negative review. We want positive reviews, good or bad. But don't only be negative. I cannot count how many times I'm not necessarily proud of having done this, but when you leave a review, people can click your name on Amazon, Goodreads, or whatever and see your other reviews. And so often when I click a negative review, I click and all that person ever leaves are 1-star reviews. Like, don't be that person. I know you don't hate everything, sis. Like, I know you don't hate everything. So for as much as you're leaving those 1-star reviews, leave 5-star, 4-star, whatever. The authors who are doing the things that you like in books, let them know. They want to know that they could use those reviews too. They could use that energy too. And so try to find some balance with that. I'm not saying for you to not leave your negative reviews. That's your business, not mine. But I will say spread some positivity too. Now, if you do have like a review blog or a review, if you have like a Bookstagram or you're part of that community, please do tag us in your positive reviews, not your negative ones, not your negative ones. Do not tag us in that. Just don't. But your positive reviews, definitely tag us in them because we want to see them and we want to share those with our followers and maybe potentially put more people on to you if you're trying to build up your following, you're trying to build up your site, you're trying to build up, your space or whatever with more followers. I love sharing people's reviews of my work. I love putting people on to, people because the Black Bookstagram community is not that big. I want to see you guys grow. I want to see you guys continue to, to develop. I want more eyes on what you're doing. So please do tag us or not. It doesn't even necessarily have to be like a tag. Mention us in a comment or something like that so that we know it's there and we can see it. And a lot of times those reviews and stuff, especially if it's like, oh man, I put that book out 3 years ago and people are still reading that. You know what I mean? Like, tag us in it. We want to see it. We want to know. Now, with that said, your critiques and your I didn't really like this and all of that, keep that in your reviews. Do not inbox any author with what you didn't like about their work. And this one, other people might think something different. I do not inbox me with what you didn't like about my work. Do not inbox me with it. Do not tweet it at me. Do not leave it in a comment, especially on some completely unrelated book. I like, sis, that's between you and your group chat or you and your book club or you and your review. That's between that don't have nothing to do with me. It's not like like, okay, I post, this novella that I wrote is coming out. And here comes somebody, I don't like novellas. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off of Amazon. I'm going to put it in the trash. I'm going to take this down. I'm going to stick it somewhere in the far recesses of my mind and pretend it doesn't exist because you don't like novellas. Like, is that the reaction that I'm supposed to? What is the author supposed to do with that information? It's fine for you to not like whatever it is that you don't like. That nobody is saying that you can't, but that you don't need to talk to the author about that. You do not need to talk to the author about that. You just don't. So Again, leave that in your review. Talk to your homegirls about it. Talk to your book club about it. Talk to literally anybody except the author about it. Again, that's just me. Do so take it with a grain of salt. Your mileage may vary, all that good stuff. But as for me in my space, keep that over there. If you want to inbox us about anything, let it be the same type of positive stuff that you would want in your inbox. Like if you want us to know that you love this book and etc etc etc, absolutely let us know. But keep in mind that oftentimes you are not the only person who is in our inbox. Like a lot of times it can get a little overwhelming, especially since we don't have people like managing our inbox for us or anything like that. It can get a little bit overwhelming. I'm not saying that you should not let authors know. I'm not saying that you should not inbox authors. What I am saying is before you do, take a second to think, hey, I wonder if I could leave this as a comment on her page, or I wonder if I could, tweet this at her or something like that instead. Something that is public and something that gives less sense of urgency, because what happens is when you post that same loving message, nothing that's, like if it's something that's private or something like that, then absolutely nobody is suggesting that you should leave that publicly. But if you're trying to help us, it goes miles for other people to see, man, this person is raving about that book and I can see it. Like it's right there on her page for everybody to see. Other people can engage with. You might even pick up some community there. You might find more community there because instead of inboxing it, you decided to leave it publicly or leave it in a review. Now, again, I cannot stress enough, I am not saying not to inbox authors. Not saying that at all. Just to keep in mind that if it takes some time to get to it, or maybe if they don't get to it, I know for some of us it really can be overwhelming. I try to even if I'm late with it, I do try to always get to those, but it can be overwhelming. So just take a second to think, can I leave this publicly? Because that turns it from something that, kind of ramps up stress into something that's like, oh man, this was really helpful. It puts a different energy on it. Just something to think about. And speaking of that, engage with our posts and stuff on social media. Don't just see it and then keep scrolling. Hit the like button, share it, bookmark it, share it to your stories, all of that good stuff. All of that stuff is helping put us on the radar of other potential readers, and it helps exponentially. And so if that's something that if that's something that you're trying to be mindful of, that is absolutely helpful. Like I see so many of you guys who do read romance, but when I see what you share or when I see what makes it to your Bookstagram page, it's always only traditionally published romance. And honestly, it hurts a little bit because my thing is, I know that indie romance, I know that the stuff that we write can stand right next to any of them other folks that get all the, I guess they get more engagement because it's a more popular book. It's, the people see that cover and it's, oh, I've read that book before. And so it gets more engagement and stuff like that. But they don't really need that push the way that the indie authors who don't have publishing dollars behind them pushing them do. And I'm not saying don't share those books, but what I am saying is if you're reading us, share us the same way you share those other books. Share our stuff too. If you follow me and I only ever see you share traditionally published romance, you honestly, you may have noticed that I stopped following you. You may have noticed that I stopped following you, and that is probably why, because it's an insult. Just plain and simple. It's insulting to me who writes fabulous indie romance that the only thing you deign worthy of being shared on your bookstagram is traditionally published romance that's super popular to other people. That's whack. The same way that those books are good enough for you to use in your bookstagram challenges and stuff like that, you can use our books in your bookstagram challenges too. And you're doing something more for us. You're sewing into the Black indie community in a way that is just going to float right on past for some of those other traditionally published books. So just consider that. But on the same token, if you're not going to share indie romance books, please at least be mindful of the hashtags that you're using. Something that I have already noticed is February, it's Black History Month. And so I've already noticed the hashtag Black Romance, the hashtag Black Romance is already being inundated with interracial romance or romance from authors who happen to be Black but don't write Black characters. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do not use that Black romance hashtag unless that book that you're talking about fits what that descriptor is. Hashtag Black romance is for books that celebrate Black love. All parts of that relationship need to be the book needs to be about Black characters, not a Black character and someone else. The book needs to be about Black characters if you're going to use that Black romance hashtag. Please attend events, virtual and in person. I know there's not as many events happening right now, as far as in-person events, because we all know what's going on. We all know the state of the world. But once they come back, come to our events. I know the big flashy events, I know they have their appeal, but nothing is going to beat the sense of community that you are going to get from being in a room full of Black women who also love Black romance, who love the same Black authors that you do. Trust me, you're going to have a good time. And not just the in-person events, the virtual events too. These authors are going to be there dropping gems. You're going to get to know them more. You're going to get to know more about their work. And it might put you onto somebody whose work you hadn't even considered, but they couldn't end up being your next favorite author. So if you see these events going on, especially the free stuff that's happening virtually, drop in. What could it hurt? And last but certainly not least, do not return books that you read, even if you didn't like it. If you don't like the book, stop reading it. But if you read from one cover to the next, do not return the book. If you listened from 1 hour to the end, do not return that book, because what's happening is you are stealing. Amazon maybe can afford it. Barnes & Noble maybe can't afford it. But you know what? They're not taking the hit. We are. We have to pay that back. We don't get the royalty for that. So you're essentially stealing from us, not them. All right. That's pretty much all I got. Buy our books. Be kind. Don't say anything to us that you wouldn't want said to you. If you got something negative to say, leave it in a review. That's absolutely your prerogative. Support our content when we put it out, that whether that's, YouTube videos or promo posts and stuff like that about our books as they're coming out, soundtracks, share the soundtracks, listen to them, hit the play button. Don't be scared to let people know that you read indie authors. We are just as good, if not better, than no, I'm not playing. I probably shouldn't have said that, but I'm not playing. I think that's it. As always, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll holler.